Hey, I'm Jon Thelen. Today on Fish Head, we're having a little bit of a tough one this morning. Mother Nature's dictating to us what we can do. There is no way I can go fish where I want to. It's midsummer. I wanted to be out in deep, deep water offshore today, and I just can't get there. It's just too rough. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna fish some alternate stuff, some shoreline structures that have just the right ingredients to hang on to a few fish throughout the whole season. Because when you got days like today, sometimes you just gotta fish these types of spots to be able to actually get something done. Stay right where you're at. Fish Head's coming up. So one thing about fighting this wind, you get so much slack out there sometimes. It gets kind of tough. And I had way too much and I blew that fish. Oh, wait a minute. No, I did get back to him. Look at that. Got lucky, got back to him. That long rod saved me on that one, I'll tell you that. Let's see what we got here. You know, this is one of them times where this was not the plan. I'm not planning on being where I'm at today. I planned on being out fishing mid-lake structure. That's where the majority of the fish are right now. But I'm here because Mother Nature she's relentless today. And this is the way it is. I am not, look at that. What a great way to start, especially when you're kind of gambling and hoping. This is a great walleye to start with here. But this is one of those times where I just flat out can't fish where I want to fish. There is no way. I tried it because that's just my nature. I thought I could give it a shot, and I did. I went out into that deep water, and man, what you see for wind in here and what I'm feeling is just crazy. You get out there, and I mean, they were 3.5 footers easy, and you know, there's a certain point where if you don't have boat control, you're just not gonna catch fish. And that was the reality I was dealing with when I got out there. Is there was no way I was gonna be able to control the boat. So with that being said, what we're gonna do today is fish some stuff that is really good usually in the spring. Areas like this, where in the spring, there's a lot of walleyes stacked up, and most of them are gone by now. That's a great fish to start. We'll get them out of here right away. But we're fishing an area where there shouldn't be any left. But there's gonna be some, and I'm gonna tell you why. There's always some that live here because this is one of those spots that I found on the map that has the perfect combination of everything they need to stay here all year. And when the wind blows, it becomes pretty predictable. And here's what it is. It's surrounded by deep water. It's got deep water on all sides, and it's got areas where those fish could spawn early. Now, am I gonna get as many big fish in here as the year wears on? Heck no, but I will get a lot of walleyes that size, your eater size fish, because once they're here, once they get to this first set of humps and rock piles and whatever it is on their way out, a lot of times everything they need is right here. They don't need to leave. Those bigger ones, they might meander out. A lot of those fish that are that same size are gonna go, but there's always gonna be some leftovers, some stragglers that take up residence right here and live here all summer. And that's what we're gonna fish for today, because this is just one of those days where I could go out there 4 miles where I was planning on going. There's a lot of fish out there, but let me tell you something. I don't think I'm gonna catch them today because I can't control the boat. There was no way. I mean, I would have needed 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces to get down. I mean, it is rocking out here. But this is one of those times where we're gonna talk about these spots and how you pick out these spots, because not all of them are created equal. But if you find the right ones, even on a blow day like today, you can get out and you can catch some fish. Well, I warned my welcome out on that side a little bit. Cast out this other side. Before I do, let me show you what I'm using. Real simple setup. You know, I love my float fishing. I think it's one of my favorite ways to fish in the world, and it's real simple. I'm fishing a Lindy live bait jig on the business end. This 16th ounce jig, short chain hook, big wide gap. As soon as the walleye hits it, as soon as I see that float go down, I can start taking slack out and get after him. I don't like letting them swim around because I know that I can stick them if I just get after them right away, as long as I'm using that jig. But I think the most important part of the day today is this thew wobble bobber. And you know, whether I'm using a thew Pro Series, a thew wobble bobber, or a bubble gum, or an America's favorite, whatever it is, thew makes the best balsa bobbers on the market. There's no doubt about it. It's the finest quality balsa. It detects the bites the best, and it holds up the best. You get a long life out of a float when you buy a thew float. But here's the thing that makes the wobble bobber so good today. In this wind, because of the balance of this float and the weight, I can cast it a long ways. If I were fishing a lighter float, when I cast it, the wind would catch it and take it on me. With this float, brass grommet in both ends, and the weight of it, I can fire this thing and I can get right back to this spot time and time again where those fish are biting, and I can cast it a long ways. So whether you're fishing in the wind out in a boat, or you're a shore fisherman and you're trying to get out a ways, this wobble bobber casts better than any float on the market, and it gives you all the attributes of that balsa that thew's so popular for. That is the whole key to why I'm catching them today. There's no doubt about it. There he goes. Man, it's just automatic right off of that corner. That's amazing. There must just be a pile of them, and I'm not even having to go that far out to them. They're just right there, right on that corner. And who knows, you know, I mean, maybe this is that one of those fish I just missed, because this one feels like a pretty decent one too. It could be, but I got a feeling that there's just such a stack of them sitting right up against this ledge. Oh, this is a good eye too. He got tangled up in some of that weed stuff blowing around too. Look at this one. Look at that one. That's the best one of the day so far. That's a dynamite fish right there. Just goes to show you though, man, spots like this, we drive right by them midsummer. I do it. I think most anglers do it. We drive right past them, figuring there's nothing left there. I'm not that far from shore. I'm a mile offshore at the most. I might not even be a mile. I'm not far out. Fish like that, they're still sitting here. And I mean, are there a bunch of 26s, 27s, 28s here? Probably not. But you know what there are? A whole bunch of eating size fish, some good 17s, some fish like this one up to 20 maybe. I mean, that's a great fish right there. I don't care where you go, and heck of a lot better than sitting on shore. Now, let me let this guy go, and I want to talk to you a little bit about finding locations like this, because there's something special to what I'm doing. And they exist in most bodies of water. There's three things I'm looking for when I'm looking for this type of spot in midsummer, okay? Number one, there's a bunch of them around here that come up to 10 feet. I'm not interested in those. That's not deep enough now. What I'm looking for are spots that are 15 feet or deeper, and I really like something around 20. I mean, I'm just on a spot, a part of this structure that's 20 feet, okay? The other thing is, you know, with that depth, I also then want deeper water around it. And I like the bottom transition. So if I can be on something like this that's a harder bottom, and I can see that on my graph because I got a bright red on my graph. When I've got that, I know I'm on harder bottom. If I go any direction here, I'm gonna get into some softer bottom. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna make it so that when there's bug hatches, there's food here for the minnows. Long as the minnows stay here, ultimately the walleyes will stay here as well. And then the other thing I really like about this one is it's kind of big in footprint. And what I mean by that is it's not just a small little hump that's the size of 4 boats that we all dream about getting on and killing fish on. Here's the deal, this is kind of big. And what that does is it makes it so it can hold more fish. But when you have that situation, here's the thing. Different packs of fish feed at different times. So if you've got a structure big enough, there might be a pack over there and a pack over here and a pack back there. And therefore, I know I can keep fish biting throughout the day because they don't all feed at the same time. Then the other thing about it is I like the wind being able to get to it like today and still being fishable because it's moved pretty much every single pack of those fish to this side of the structure. So those three things, if you can put that together, get the right depth, have a big enough footprint, and then be in a situation where you're not too shallow, you're out deep enough, and you're surrounded by deeper water with a different bottom content. Those three things, if you can do that, man, I'll tell you, there's spots like this everywhere, and they hold fish year round. Like I said, we just drive past them a lot of times because we think that as soon as we hit June 15th, 60-degree water temp, we got to bail on this shallower stuff or the closer to shore stuff. It's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of them stay put here, and they'll be here all year long. Man, just automatic. I'm baffled myself at how fast these floats are going down when I hit the right spot right there. And it's just one after another. I mean, that is just cool. It's cool when you land on this. And you know, we've all been here where all of a sudden you just find something like this that's just automatic. But I mean, it's right here. It's 15 feet, maybe 30 feet at the most off of the back corner of the boat. They're just stacked there now. And they're stacked there because of the wind. I mean, it's just like ice fishing. When you find that exact right spot where they come up and all of a sudden there's tons of them, that's what we're on right now. Another great eye. Wow. Look at that. Another great fish. That one might even be bigger than the last one. This is just automatic. It's one after another, but let me tell you, I considered staying on shore today. I really did, because I was planning on coming out, shooting a deep water show, going out where I knew there was a bunch of fish, and I considered just staying on shore today. And I know that that's an easy thing to consider when you're on vacation, when you're thinking about going up for the day, or you're just up for the weekend. But let me tell you, eyes like that one right there, you can catch them. Don't stay on shore. Just look at these alternative spots, you know, spots like what we've talked about today, because they hold fish year round. And you can go out even on a day like today, get out of the wind. Out there, there's 3-footers. It's miserable. In here, it's not too bad. And the fish are biting. Look at that.